Welcome back to another video on Primary Defensive Solutions. I'm Peter as always, and before we dive into the video, peep the new stand. Slowly but surely, we're moving on up from being idiots to semi-professional idiots. We're getting there. In the video today, I want to talk about the PTR 9CT. To give some context, like a lot of people in this community, I am someone that who's gotten into guns through a variety of means, right? You know, movies, TV, video games. They do a lot to really pique the interest. There's lots of guns that I have always wanted to shoot because of the media that I would consume. A lot of it I have shot, some of it I have shot and own, like I own an M1 Garand. Video on that maybe in the future. But definitely something that I considered I need to shoot this kind of gun is an MP5. It's pretty much cemented itself as like an all-time great. This isn't gonna really be a video going over the MP5 history. A lot of people that are probably watching this video probably already know more or less the history of the MP5 and some of the conflicts or events in which it gained notoriety. But what I'm going to be specifically talking about is a clone that a lot of people know from PTR Industries called the PTR 9CT. Why am I going to talk about it? Because I own one. If I had the means, if I wasn't a poor, and I say that as a noun, if I wasn't a filthy poor, I would love to have an authentic civilian transferable machine gun MP5. But I'm a filthy poor. For the money, this is a very nice alternative to those that are financially challenged. I'm going to stop talking and just show it to you. So here is my PTR 9CT. Technically speaking, this is a PTR 9C. The only difference between the 9C and the 9CT is with the muzzle. So the 9CTs have a thread with a thread protector on there, which is good for direct thread suppressors. So the 9C, it's just bare. Like, there's no threads on it whatsoever, but you still do get the 3-lug, which I mainly was gonna shoot this suppressed with a 3-lug mount regardless. So I didn't really care for the direct thread. So, but that's the only difference between the 9C and the 9CT in my research. But yeah, so this is my PTR 9C. Let me go ahead and just to alleviate any viewer anxiety. Empty mag, clear chamber. All right. So I knew I could never afford a authentic MP5, or at the very least the SP5, which street price is gonna put it around $2,800 to $3,300 depending where you're looking and if you had a really good day of hunting. So I looked towards some of the clones. If I was gonna originally get a Zenith, because I heard the Zeniths were fantastic. They were made on HK tooling. A lot of weirdness happened where Zenith and MKE, the people that were actually making the clones, and Zenith was an importer, they had like a falling out, and now MKE makes these for Century Arms, and you may know them as the AP5s. So the reason I didn't get the Century is because at the time when they announced that they were coming out, that they were going to be selling the MKE MP5s, that they were going to put like a $3,000 price tag, which at that point you might as well get an SP5. It's gotten a lot better. It's the AP5s now are price-wise more in line with the PTRs. So I would say at the time of this video, the AP5 is an awesome option if you don't want to look at the PTR. But that said, I am going to tell you everything about the PTR, my experience shooting it, and the setup I have going on here, because this is my home defense gun. So a brief little history. PTR 9CT was first unveiled during SHOT Show 2018. These are not made with HK tooling, and that's something I need to clear up, because depending where you're looking at, like what forum or subreddit, you may hear people say that it's made with HK tooling, when it is not. This is made with US tooling, very similar to the HK tooling, but not US, or it's not HK tooling. Everything's made in-house. Barrels, receivers, certain parts, which does help with maintaining 92R compliance, which, if you don't know what that is, essentially you have to have a certain amount of parts that are US made parts for a firearm, which it won't matter for US made firearms, but anything that's going to be imported over definitely should have a couple of US made parts. But no need to worry about that with the PTR, because pretty much almost everything here is made in-house. So when you receive this from PTR, it's going to come in a giant thick boy case, which I do appreciate. It's not anything flimsy, which you're going to be paying $1,800 for this. So even though it's not at the same ballpark as an SP5, it should come in something that should protect your investment. So I do appreciate the thick boy case that they package these in. So you get two mags. You get two ETS mags, which they're cool, don't get me wrong, but from the research I was doing, when these were initially rolled out into the market, they were coming with all metal mags. Now granted, they're not HK mags, they were KCI mags, the Korean mags, but still, like, come on. Look at this. Look at this. This looks sleeker. It's cleaner. Now, it's funny I say that because one of the mags that I use for home defense is the ETS mag. Let me show you. So I am running some Federal 147 grain hollow points in this. The reason I have them loaded in the ETS mag because, well, heaven forbid I gotta use this, but if I do have to use it, it'd be nice to know what my round count is looking like without needing to remove the magazine. This is a KCI mag because HK mags are expensive. So I'm gonna buy a couple more mags. One of them is definitely gonna be an HK, but I'm just gonna have to keep it at just one, being an HK. I will say this: I've shot, at the time of this video, I've shot like several hundred rounds already. I don't have any crazy numbers on this, like 1,000 or 2,000, but a couple hundred. Zero malfunctions with this. I've had not a single issue with this PTR, and especially with the mags. Like I was a little unsure of how these mags would do, like if I was gonna have feeding issues, or just dropping them and then cracking them. But no, like when I go out and shoot, I'll do like reload drills, and I'll just I'll throw these suckers on the floor, and depending where it's landing, it's either landing on grass or gravel or rocks, landing on my floor if I'm doing like some dry fire drills, practicing reloads or whatever. And I am pretty impressed with the durability of these ETS mags. They don't look as cool as the metal mags, but they do their job. And that's really, at the end of the day, all you can ask for with anything, really. You also get a bungee style 1-point sling, and that would attach here on this little swivel. Now, I'm not exactly a fan of 1-points, but I understand why they did it, because it's not just throwing a sling in there for the sake of throwing a sling. They have to do that because when this leaves the factory, it leaves as a pistol. So this that you see here does not come like this, which, by the way, I need to clarify. Yes, this is a legal registered Form 1 SBR. So this is a registered SBR. but it will leave the factory as a pistol. So the purpose of the sling is, when you have the sling on, essentially you're going to be pulling out. Right, you're going to be pulling out. Pushing the PTR out. And then with the sling, you create like a tension. Thus give it some stability, because since it leaves the factory as a pistol, you're not going to get any of this, right? So it's just, so you pull out, creates tension, and then keeps it stable. You could, of course, buy the SB Tactical MP5 brace that they sell. That is going to be like $200, depending where you're looking. I was thinking about that, but then I also wanted the vertical foregrip, so I just decided to form one it. My thoughts on this. Honestly, this thing has just been awesome. Like I said, this isn't made with HK tooling. It's made with US tooling. A lot of the major components are made in-house. And this thing has just been running like a dream for me. I have shot an SP5. I have shot a buddy's SP5 before, and I hope he doesn't flame me for this, but I honestly can't tell the difference. Like, shooting this and shooting the SP5, there's zero difference, right? That roller delayed blowback system, it's doing its job. It has almost zero recoil impulse. It feels buttery smooth to shoot. Yeah, I mean, what else can I say? PTR did a fantastic job replicating the mechanisms of the MP5 without having to go through the hassle of getting the HK tooling and the licensing. Well, licensing to produce the clone, they had to, of course, but just the licensing of getting the tools and having it sent over, they didn't have to worry about any of that. Now, this is my personal experience with this PTR. I will say this for anyone watching. There are reports of issues in terms of fitting with parts, right? I've heard things about buying HK parts that they try to throw on to their PTR that is not exact. It's not going to be like a 100% fit, that it's not going to be able to go in all the way or secure itself all the way. Sometimes some parts are out of spec. This is just from what I've been seeing, because when I want to review a gun, I want to see what have been some of the known issues. And from what I've been seeing, sometimes people will get a PTR that some of the, it's not in spec. So when they try to buy aftermarket stuff, it's not going to work. So this is the BNT folding stock. I will say that this was quite a challenge to get on here. So you have a cap at the back of this, which is held in place by this pin, and you got to remove the pin, remove the cap, and then this is all one piece, right? This cap slides onto the back of the receiver, and then you put the pin and it's secure. Now, getting this, I don't know why, but getting this pin in was just such a tight fit. I'm setting myself up for all these memes. Whatever. But yeah, I had to hammer it in place. And it's made me not look forward to when I have to eventually clean this, because it's gonna be a to get this out. So I guess that's the closest I'll have to a out of spec issue, because, and I know it's an out of spec or a slightly out of spec issue, because just to make sure I wasn't an idiot, I looked up other videos of people installing this stock on their MP5s and their PTR specifically, and it would just, the pin would just go in like no problem. So I still don't know if it's just that I'm an idiot or not, but there's no way that other people were able to get that pin in easily, and then for me it was just a mission. Could be wrong though. So I would say if you do plan on getting a PTR 9CT, definitely make sure you want to inspect it first, and you want to do this not just because it's a PTR, but with any firearm really. You want to make sure any firearm you buy, no matter if it's from the most reputable of manufacturers, that you're checking for it, that you're disassembling it, making sure all the major components are good, that there's no issues. And then companies that kind of have a history of out of spec stuff, you want to take that more into consideration. While that has been reported to happen in certain cases with the PTRs, I'm not going to give it a huge knock. At least because in my experience, this thing has been shooting flawlessly. Now, with that said, the MP5 does kind of show its age. Because in the modern world with AR-15s and everything being super ergo and intuitive, the MP5 design definitely kind of shows its age. When you go from the simplicity of an AR-15 to an MP5, it definitely creates another layer of difficulty. Because I had to, before I really took this out to the range, I had to really make sure I got those reloads down. Because compared to an AR-15 reload, this has another 2, 3, 4 steps. I will say what is simpler, in my opinion, is the latch release for the magazines. I'd say it's much easier where you can grab the mag and then disengage the mag release at the same time, all in the same spot. Not to say an AR-15 mag release or mag removal isn't easy. Also, it's just that's your body working in tandem, where two parts of your body are doing a motion at the same time. Where with this, it's just really one smooth motion. Charging handle does take a little getting used to, especially making sure the reloads are good, and then making sure that you're not missing your slap. But whereas the AR-15 charging handle is going to be behind your rear sight and can be a little awkward to actuate. Not that I can say from experience, but since I've never had a malfunction with this, but if I need to clear a malfunction, I already know it's going to be immensely easier since the charging handle is at the front. As much as I would love to, go on and on about how this gun is amazing, I do have to point that out. The MP5, despite the sort of outdated manual of arms, it still continues to be highly super relevant. It's still used in a lot of LEO and military agencies around the world. The MP5 is not going anywhere, and it's got some good competition too, with the MPX or the APC from B&T. It definitely has some competition, which is a testament to the fact that it can still compete even with some modern offerings. All in all, I would say if you're looking to get a MP5 clone, well, if you got the money for an SP5, go for the SP5, because you get the bragging rights and you get to just essentially throw your money in people's faces. But if you don't have the means to get a authentic HK SP5, but you still want that roller delayed goodness, the PTR is an awesome option, really. It's really surprising that with most of the components made in-house, and it's not even HK tooling, it's their own tooling, they did a phenomenal job of replicating the action, the mechanisms, the characteristics. Like I said, I've shot an SP5. This is my personal gun. I honestly cannot tell the difference in shooting. So as long as when you do purchase one, as long as when you receive it that you do check it, make sure everything's working normally, or if you notice that there's an issue when you go shooting, make sure you contact PTR right away. I understand from what I've been reading online that they do have a solid warranty and they will take care of you. Make sure if you do buy any HK stuff that it does fit properly. If not, you can contact PTR about that. Other than that, would highly recommend, and this is my favorite gun to shoot, and there's nothing I love more, not just shooting it, there's nothing I love more than having other people shoot it. I let other people shoot this all the time, and it's always a guaranteed result that after the first couple rounds, they look at me and they're like, no way. Because this thing just shoots heavenly. Feel free to leave a comment. We check the comments regularly, and we're always happy to engage with the community and help out however we can, which is what we aim to do. And as always, feel free to subscribe if you like what we do. Check out our IGs. I'm going to be posting our Instagram somewhere for more content, behind the scenes, extras, announcements, and that's where we get a lot of our engagement going too. So yeah, we'd appreciate your support. Thank you very much for watching another video from Primary Defensive Solutions. I'm Peter. You take care.